Hello, everyone. How's it going? Diana's already here. Wow. Hello. I'm glad I caught you at a good time. I know this was only scheduled a couple days ago, so I appreciate you seeing that notification. Hello, everyone. It has been a hot minute since I have gone live. Monique Renee here, photographer at Silver Paw Studio, and we were sitting in my green room today. Um, the pictures are off the wall because beyond that wall, I had that huge remodel of my kind of little bathroom, laundry room area. And they had to patch this wall a couple times to get to the plumbing. Oh, so I got to hang pictures back up on the wall. And actually, I might even film a video because there's a program that I use for my studio that I can show you how to use just on my wall. So maybe I'll show you that in Pro Select at some point. Um, I haven't done a Q&A for a little while, and I want you to know right off the bat, this is Q&A, whatever you want to ask. I think I did title it, we're talking about my 10-week photo challenge. So if you have questions specifically on that, that's kind of the theme, but go ahead and ask whatever pet photography, videography, business type questions that you have. I don't even remember the last time I went live. I finally am fully vaccinated and was able to go see my daughter and grandson and my BFF on the East Coast of the United States. And they're going to be sprinkled a little bit into the next two videos because, spoiler alert, I was able to film the next two challenge videos with my grand dog, a yellow Labrador Ranger who's still very young and very energetic. So that was a big, big challenge because I did it myself while my daughter was in taking care of tiny baby Henry. So forgive any craziness in the upcoming videos. But Katie did a great job editing them, and they're full of fun and information. Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of what I've been up to the last few months. It's nice to not have contractors here. Bailey is not a big fan of having people here. So for the first time since September, my entire house was put together and every single appliance works. Whoop, whoop. And when I got back to Colorado, it is suddenly spring. It is green. The trees are blooming. Probably if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, you might be in a place where it's spring type 2, which was challenge number 1 was color. And it was kind of a good timing because a lot of people had flowers and natural color that you could look for. But I'm also here to brainstorm how else can you incorporate color. And like this picture of Bay, that's from the video I did last spring, photographing her in the purple lilacs out here. And for that particular photo shoot in that YouTube video, that was just the color I had. And so that's what I used. But oftentimes we are challenged with intentionally including a particular color. So the examples that I gave were when I work with the shelters and we're doing a special project, maybe for a billboard or marketing or some cards that they're working on. Sometimes they want to incorporate their logo colors. So how do you do that? Or if you end up as a photographer working with a brand and they want to include a color. One of the things that just comes to mind immediately is the Kong brand. I always think of the red Kong. How can you incorporate red if, say, Kong today reached out to you and said, could you do some brand photos for us? Like, so that was week 1. Hello, Catherine. Hello. Good to see you. Yeah, the color challenge is awesome. You had fun with that. And I wanted to start the challenge with something kind of fun too. And y'all know me. Diana's known me for a very long time from our live streaming days that we've done for several years. And I like to add whimsy. I cannot be all serious all the time. It's just not me. So I think that is one of the great things about being a pet photographer too, is that animals are full of whimsy. It's so great to be able to incorporate that into our work. So I try to convey that on my channel as well and in these challenges. So I wanted the challenges to be simple enough, like one thing to do that it wouldn't be overwhelming to try it, and then kind of fun too. And then, all of a sudden you've learned a practical skill. All right. So I'm glad the photo challenge was fun, and I encourage you to still do that. I think in my latest video that hasn't aired yet, I talk about being like submitting your images, but that's not how it is. Just share your images with the Pro Pet Photog hashtag. So wherever you're at. So colors was week 1. Let me know if you have any questions about that particular challenge, any troubles you had with it, input you have for others, what you learned. Week 2 was lines and angles. and uh, I know like landscape photographers use this all the time. Think of your favorite landscapes. I picture here the Rocky Mountains where I live. I can look outside and see the Rockies from my house. And all of that's about lines and actually depth as well. And if there's trees in the picture, you have those lines. And how do you line up all the lines? And then angles. I think angles again add that whimsy to your photos. I just posted a photo of a Budweiser Clydesdale on the Pro Pet Photog Instagram page. And I wrote how I had kind of shoved my camera under the fence. They have back in the day, they had a day when the Clydesdales were in town because they're here in just north of me, and the public can come out and see them. And they're just gorgeous and so well taken care of. And so I slid my camera under the fence, and there's this giant horse, and from that low angle, you get the grass a little bit out of focus. The fence line was a little crooked, and then you have this beautiful, bluebird sky, as we call it here, and you can almost see the mountains in the fence. So you got a crooked fence and a low angle. It just makes the horse look that much more majestic. And it's a very different feel from just some of the straight on portraits that I take, or I took also of those horses. So incorporating lines and angles really leads your viewer in and through the photo, whether your animal's going into or out of the frame. One person shared a photo she had taken on riding her horse, and it was a horse and then the trail. This was in the Facebook group. So I'll put these banners up. In the Facebook group, she had posted on her horse, it's the horse's head and mane and just beautiful, beautiful day. And then the path going away. And she said, I know the path is supposed to come towards us. I said, actually just a path. Like now we're wondering, wow, you're going on a really long ride. That shows that perspective. This is where the horse is heading. Like you can make up all kinds of stories with that, which our brain loves to do. So that was part of that week 2 challenge with the lines and the angles. How can you use that to lead people through a photo and maybe even like make that horse look bigger or make something look smaller? If you notice, a lot of times when we take a picture of our phone, and like Diana, you and I both have small dogs. And if we're, way up here, 5 feet up in the air, looking down at our dog, they often look small from that high angle, right? But if we were to put our phone or our camera under the dog, they suddenly look big. So thinking about that, what do you want to showcase of that pet? So that was week 2 with the lines and angles. Week 3 was actually editing the leash out of those. And I generally get asked this question a lot. Oh, Diana, what do you got before I move on? I would love to see a montage of the photos people are submitting. I know many are being posted on platforms I'm not on. Yeah, I was thinking about that too, Diana. When near the end, I'm going to get people's permission, because you're right. Some are LinkedIn, some are Instagram, some are in our Facebook group, and not everybody's on all of those things. So yes, I would love to do like a finale roundup video if everyone's okay with me sharing their images. So I'm going to do that at the very end, kind of gather it up and ask permission. But thanks for the reminder. Yeah. So I probably should consider when I'm going to film that. Put that in my summer lineup. So week 3 was editing out leashes, and I use Lightroom, Photoshop, and Snapseed. Now, Snapseed's not going to be the end-all be-all every single time. You will have challenges. There's only one tool. That's the healing tool. You don't have clone. You don't have a lot that you can do, but more than any other free program, I have been looking for another free program that does that healing or cloning tool, and I can't find a free one. Some will have a free trial. So I hope you're able to play with that one a little bit. Diana had a great idea to do a full tutorial on Snapseed. And that might be interesting. Like I haven't dived into it that deeply because I generally am editing on my two, 27-inch monitors here in the green room. So how are you doing with object removal? Like you can remove branches. I removed my husband from a picture, leashes. Sometimes at the shelters, we have a double collar on a dog. And so try those techniques. How's that going? Catherine, how are you doing? This year in my photography class, we did lines at the beginning of the school year. What's interesting is I remember that from high school. And that was one of the very first lessons in that class too. And I remember going out along this fence line at the school and how you're using those lines as a perspective, right? So that was kind of a little bit of what triggered me to think about that is, like I've been out of school a very long time now. So I don't think of some of those lessons and how fundamental they are and how we need to like make sure we keep concentrating on those and then know when to break the rules too. So I'm glad you said that, Catherine. Dinah, I wish I could remove my husband. Sometimes, like I wanted my photo to be about Bailey and the lines of the path. So I wanted the leash gun. And I thought, let me see. Can I erase Steve using Snapseed? And it worked. Trust me. You just go back to the last video. Oh my gosh. So I've mentioned a couple of times the where's the Facebook group? The Facebook group. I know Catherine's in there. Diana, you're on LinkedIn instead. And so if you want to, if you're watching this replay, hi, thank you. You can go to this link or just kind of search for us on Facebook and you'll find us. And we're up to 41 members as of this morning, which I'm very proud of. So there you go there. Instagram is Pro Pet Photog as well. So feel free to kind of follow along. I'm putting like 2 examples per challenge up. I'm a little behind because of my trip with the grandbaby. So forgive me there. And then, of course, you all know about my new website. So those are some of the places I was just talking about. So let's go back to comments. Oh yeah, we're just still laughing about removing our husbands. And I'm working on the graphic. I almost finished it, Diana. It will go up on LinkedIn just after this live that I show the before and after of Steve in the picture and Steve out of the picture. So you'll appreciate that. And Steve did not mind at all. I tell you, he is much happier being behind the scenes. And I have proposed that we branch off and make even another YouTube channel with his Denver Cool. He does a lot of wildlife and nature photography here, and he has his own brand called Denver Cool. And I said, oh my gosh, it would be so great if we had our YouTube channel together, because not many wildlife and nature and, landscape photographers are a husband-wife duo or duos at all. I just think it would be so fun. But he already has a full-time job plus that side gig, and I've got all this. So, But if I can convince him, then be watching for that channel. And that's where I'll move all of my wildlife photography to as well. Because I've gotten quite a bit of traction from just the bald eagle and the golden eagle stuff. And then all the things I talk about with the big Sony cameras probably would be over there too. So let's see. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen when I, get a lot of people in there. I'll probably get an admin, but 41 is just awesome. We just have such a great group of people in there. Catherine, I will have a lot more time to do the challenge because schools. Oh, is it over now? Yeah, a lot of places around the country they're wrapping up. So yay. Says if you don't have any summer classes, if you have some people I know have college classes in the summer, things like that, then yeah. But I know you're multi-talented, Catherine. So you've got all kinds of art to work on. I bet you already have a full summer planned. Okay, so let's see. We are about 13 minutes in. I want to invite you to ask any questions you have about pet photography. We can talk a little about Sony cameras if you want, and the business of photography. Now, one of the interesting things that I noted this week is I put a poll in the Pro Pet Photog Facebook group asking people what they wanted to experience in the group, which is a little different than here on YouTube. And I was really shocked that a high by a large margin, people wanted to know more about the business of pet photography, which is really interesting, but it makes sense. So once you go into a Pro Pet Photog Facebook group, that's what you want to learn more about. Here on YouTube, a lot of searchable content is gear and wildlife and more on that end. But I'd really, really love to teach more about the business end of pet photography. So I think that's going to be my next series here on YouTube. So once this 10-week challenge is done, I think you'll have learned a lot. My goal at the end of this is that you'll have more confidence in your skills with creative and camera functions and building a portfolio. So those are three things I really want people to get out of this 10-week challenge. And then at the end, you might think, okay, this is a perfect time. I'm ready to start that business, whether it's a side hustle or full time. And so that's kind of where I'm trying to head with this 10-week challenge for those that want that. And so I want to do a little bit, I think, of a series on the business end, but there's so much to talk about that I would love your input. If you were searching for pet photography, business related topics on YouTube, what would you search for? My initial thought was setting up a business or pricing or marketing, what packages to include, business, like psychology of selling, things like that. But then I heard some people ask for some other things. So it's a big, big subject, and I want to gear it towards you. So if you have any input there, type it in this live stream in the comments, or just shoot me an email, Monique@silverpawstudio.com. All right. So that would be awesome. And so then, there's stuff coming out just for you. Oh, let me make that banner go away. Bye-bye, banner. Okay. What else we got here? Question. Is this your new monthly theme? If so, I love it. I don't know. What do you mean? Oh, time. Oh, sorry. I wasn't even thinking. I don't know yet. Yeah, that's another great piece of input. Thank you. I was doing Mondays because I could also show the editing of the shelter animals, and it's kind of an easy day for me to go live. But I'm open to a different day or time because I know you're a different time zone, and I believe Catherine is as well. Yeah, let me roll that around a little bit. I'm always updating my board. If y'all saw that video on, oh, I don't know if I can move this. So there's my whiteboard that I put my life on. So I'm always playing around with what's more efficient and what works best for my business and my volunteer efforts and my personal life. So I will consider a different time. And let's see. How to find a good pet photographer would be a good video that goes, but how to find a good pet photographer. That's really interesting. What is strange about my area is I'm pretty much the only pet photographer in, kind of the Fort Collins, Loveland area. There is a couple others, but I don't know if they market nearly as much as I do. So I think I organically show up on Google without even doing Google ads. But that's a really good question. Let me write that down. How to find a photographer, because there are a variety of ways, right? And let me find, let's see. I know this wasn't in the newsletter, so not everyone knows I went live today. And I apologize for that. I will put that in the newsletter moving forward when I plan to go live. It's just kind of strange because I realized I hadn't gone live in a while. This Monday is a holiday here in the States. And then the next Monday, my sister will be in town. So yeah, let's see. Some other ideas were how to manage model calls, especially when you're building your portfolio, right? I always say, okay, do a model call, but okay, what do you do? Another person was asking attorneys and contracts. So that was interesting because I'm kind of at a loss there too. More tutorials on doing editing and how. I thought this was a really interesting question. Well, let me write down. What did you say? How to find a photographer. Okay. Uh-oh. Hold on, that's my dentist. Please hold. Hi, this is Monique.
Hi, Monique. This is Cheyenne with Fox Family Dental. How are you?
Good, how are you? Yes. Yes, I can do that. Oh, okay, sounds good. Thanks. All right, bye. I am multitasking. I have a dentist appointment today, and I knew they were calling to see if I can come in earlier. I've got 4 more weeks with these braces. So I'm not going to miss that appointment for sure. Okay, how to find a pet photographer. Okay. That's a really good topic. Yay. I know I took a call in the middle of a live stream. What a crazy person. The problem is, okay. So my car is in the shop and I have to walk to the dentist today. And I wanted to be sure that if they were calling to be there in a half hour, it is going to take me 15 minutes to walk there or 20. Oh gosh. Okay. So there's that. Let's see. So I will brainstorm some ideas and be sure to be, I know you all are, but I need a lot replayers. Be sure to be on the list. Oh yeah, okay. It's over on propetphotog.com. If you scroll through the homepage somewhere in there, I think the very top, join the ProPet Photog email list because I generally, except for today, I will tell you when these Q&A live streams are coming up. This is a great way to pick my brain. If you want a private one-to-one with me, you can schedule that on ProPet Photog as well. But please join this email list because I try to pose these questions, let you know what's coming up, and give you additional insights there. So there you go. That's where you can find that, propetphotog.com. Let's see. You're still laughing? Oh my goodness. Yay. Well, and that's one of the beauties of YouTube. And this is like owning your own business. That's not against the rules because I'm the one who makes the rules. Oh my goodness. Okay. Let's see. What else do we have coming up? So for the challenge weeks, I don't remember every every video, but what I'm trying to cover is like we did 2 weeks of kind of creative and actually um composition type of things. And then I have a couple of weeks of technical, like camera use. And then I have some fun ones on locations and props. And then we'll culminate everything at the end. So this is a fun challenge. I could have come up with a 20-week challenge, honestly. I've just come up with all kinds of great ideas, but 10 is probably enough. 10 is good. We're pacing ourselves, right? Yeah. And then I will work on some business ones. I won't do that in the middle of summer because it's summer. But, kind of near probably actually probably be good timing. It'll probably will be August because you need to know these things before the busy season in the fall ramps up. So anyone who is just now starting up their business, you want to be ready by September, August. A lot of my sessions are done in October because people like those outdoor fall colors and it's just in time for the holidays, for gifts and cards and, all of that. So you want to have everything in place before then. So doing the business tips and, whatever I haven't named it yet, but doing a series of business videos. I know it's not like the sexiest topic to watch on YouTube, but I'll make it as fun as I possibly can. And it's really, really important because you can take the best pictures ever and have a heck of a time getting your business going because you don't have the business knowledge and vice versa. So I try to be well-rounded here on the Silver Paw Studio YouTube channel. What would be fun is to take calls during a live stream. Like voice calls? I could maybe do that. How do you do that? I could figure that out. I can put people on speakerphone. People do it, and I don't remember how. usually pre-plan having someone on the show. Oh, Diana, you're giving me all kinds of ideas. Catherine, whenever I'm on the East Coast visiting my aunt, I always do updated photos of the cats and more. Oh, and for practice, that is such a great idea. And that's a really good point because if you are going to see family or friends or, even like, even just the times like I'm on vacation, I'm at the beach in years past, and a dog is running through the surf, like, I'll take their picture. I'm not as brave taking street photos and just random pictures, but sometimes the dog's just like running around and they're fine with it. So yeah, wherever you can improve those skills, um, work with different subjects because we often, when I work with Bailey, I know her very well and I know what she's going to do and not do and tolerate and not tolerate and what motivates her. But what's difficult is when you go out to photograph a pet you've never met. Even when you've done that consultation ahead of time, there's a lot of challenges there, right? So that's a perfect idea, Catherine. Oh, I can't wait to see the images. So that'll be great. And cats, right? Cats are a whole different thing from dogs. So that'll be awesome. You think? I'm trying real hard. It's an ongoing thing, Diana. Kind of that stereotype of creatives being a little bit all over the place. I tend to be like that a little bit, but I want a more peaceful life, and so one of my mantras right now is to go from chaos to peacefulness. And so I remind myself of that every day and doing things like organizing, although, I might resist it at first because I'd rather just go take pictures. It helps me so much. And that's, one of those things I worked on in Jeff Shaw's program as well. So really trying to stay on top of it. And I learned a lot from you actually, because you are very organized as well. So I'm always learning and always growing. All right. What do you got? 1026. How is everybody? How else are you doing? Again, if you're a replayer, go ahead and type it in. YouTube's very good about telling me when I have comments and I will respond. Okay. What else can I tell you? If you like baby pictures, those will show up in the future videos. So the next two videos, although I'm photographing the dog, I photographed baby Henry quite a few times. We do 5-minute photo shoots with him. And so we put him in like a little outfit and I changed my bed into a studio. I brought my little black cloth backdrop and my speed light. And so I'd photograph him. He just like lays there on his back. He's very young. So I do little 5-minute photo sessions because that's all he can really tolerate. So I did a ton of those. And so I had my editor work in a lot of those pictures and a couple video clips I did with my phone. So you'll get to see my grandbaby and my grand dog and some couple of still images of my daughter. Now I plan to go back out. I already have plane tickets bought for August for when Henry's 6 months old. And I hope to get more actual just portraits of Ranger too, because the videos I did were more action and just tutorial style. So be watching for more Ranger pictures in the future. And however we can work in Henry. I considered filming some of the photo shoots we did with Henry, but because I'm not a newborn photographer or a baby photographer, I did not want to lead anyone astray. My skills were fine for that situation, but for teaching it, I didn't feel quite comfortable. So you'll just see some still images. Yeah, and they're baby photos and puppy photos. Like, what's not to like? And my daughter's she's like, oh, sure, share pictures. It's fine. So, and she was always my model. So great stuff. And then later in the year, if I get a chance, I have a granddaughter arriving in August as well on the West Coast. And so I'm hoping to be able to go see them at some point shortly after she's born. And so who knows? I don't know what kind of pet she has at this point. I think she had an elderly dog that's not around anymore and a bearded dragon. So we'll see what I find over in the Northwest. Let's see. Yeah, that's a really good idea. Yeah. So if Henry's old enough, the problem this time, actually, it's Savannah. It'll be really hot out, I'm assuming. But Henry, just every time we went outside, it was just very bright for him. So and he's kind of at that age where he's like 45 minutes awake, 45 minutes asleep, and half an hour crying, and eating. And so it just didn't work for his age. But yeah, that's a great idea because like a 6 month old and the two adults and the dog, and they have this really great cat that I photographed while I was there too, but I just didn't feature her in anything. But that's a great idea. Doing family photos, including pets in those too, especially like a rambunctious young Labrador. So we'll see how the heat is and how the bugs are in August. And we maybe be able to do that because there's just not a space inside her house to do everybody. We tried. We moved her dining room around and we put the chairs and then a blanket and then we prop baby Henry and all these blankets in a basket and then tried to get the dog to sit next to him. So you'll see a couple pictures like that. But that's as good as I was able to do. Yeah. Plan to do some graduation pictures for family, friend, and some pictures of my family and friends' dogs this weekend. Oh, awesome. Awesome. You're going to have quite the repertoire, all kinds of things that you'll be able to do. And, Catherine, I'm assuming you're kind of at that age, so you know a lot of people that are graduating. Wouldn't it be really fun to photograph graduation photos with their pet? Oh, that would be so great. Nobody does that. Why don't people do that? Anyway, there's an idea. Go for it. Yeah. Like, wouldn't it be fun? Like, you're in your graduation gown, it's like outfit gown, with your dog sitting next to you somewhere like under the trees or something. I don't know. I just think that would be really, really pretty. When all my kids were in high school, I did a lot more of high school pictures and that kind of thing. But at the time, I wasn't doing any pet photography. I was working in a vet hospital, but that would have been so great. Yeah, I should have included our dogs in those. Yeah, and knowing people photography is really, really good because so many people they shy away from it. And it's nice to take people pictures. It's really hard for us to do ourselves. Like we could do our phones that far away, but it's a stretch to get group pictures with a phone. So awesome. Great. Feel free to share in that Facebook group. Okay. What do you got here, Diana? I have to look around my microphone setup. Is a time kids leave pets. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. So people who are headed off to college or headed off to work after college. Yeah, that's true. Ah, you're making me think of like Toy Story. It made my kids cry because they graduated when that last Toy Story came out and the kid graduated. And oh gosh, I can't think about it anymore. Okay. You graduate next year. Okay. Oh, yeah, yeah. So you definitely know a lot of people in that age group that want those senior pictures. And it's funny, Catherine, because I experience that a lot. Like I've been asked a little bit to do some, graduation photos here, but what often happens is they're like, "Oh, I have a classmate that'll just take some snapshots." And I was like, "Okay, it's kind of not the same." But if you're doing it, like you have a lot of experience, you have put the effort in, you understand all of these things and you know those people. So I think that would be a great thing for you to offer and get paid for it. I'm just putting that out there. Yeah, Catherine, you could do it next year. Graduation photo shoot. Hey, hold on. If you graduate next year, you're in the US, right? So like Steve's daughter Emmy graduates next year also. And she'll be here for her birthday in July. And I thought, oh my gosh, I need to take her high school senior photos because traditionally they're taken in the summer before you graduate, because yearbooks need them between October and December for their yearbook deadlines. I don't know if things are still like that, Catherine, but you could be taking people's pictures this summer, potentially, depending on, like COVID and travel and stuff like that. I hadn't really thought about that. I'm in a little bit of denial that Emmy's going to graduate next year. Okay. It's like last year just didn't even exist because we barely saw her. But I was like, uh-oh, she'll be 18. That means she's graduating. Ah, so I will have some graduation photos, at least of Emmy coming up this summer. Yeah. Yeah. Did I miss anything? I keep looking around my, I need to do something different. Like here's my, ooh, I can't even show you. It's so big. I got this microphone on this arm and it seems like it's always in the way. So I need to get just like a for realsy stand on the desk. I'm just trying to make it work. Okay. Oh my goodness. All right. We have been doing this for half an hour. Unless I get more questions, I should probably sign off. I did all day Saturday, I did garden paws pictures with dogs in the flower set that I made. And you'll see that coming up in week 8 of the challenge. But I have to finish editing those, which means I just need to put them in their own folders and contact the owners to do their sales meeting. So that's on my list today before I walk to the dentist. Hey, Teresa's here. What do you got here, Teresa? Sitting on work part-time while also growing their photo business. I'm considering accepting a government job until the photo business takes off. Thoughts, and did it work for you? Yeah. Who did I just hear talk about that? Oh, goodness. Who was it? They were saying exactly the same thing. Well, it might have been Catherine Manning here on YouTube, just talking about YouTube. But yeah, I think that's a really good idea. It'll take you longer to grow your business though. And so as long as you're okay with that, taking just longer. And if you have a government job and like you're young and you still have lots of energy on the weekends, you could definitely. But plan on really long days and then subject switching in your head. And that was always kind of the hard part for me because I did my photo business as I managed a veterinary practice for many years. And my photo business barely grew, but I was also raising a lot of kids. Let's be real. I had a lot of kids. We did a lot of camping. We did all these other things. So I didn't make it as big a priority, but it does take longer because there's all the marketing and the blog post and the model calls and, getting all the things set up. And then you only have, like Sunday and Monday to do the photos, the editing and everything, unless, summertime and the longer days with the weekends. But financially, it's a good idea because then, like you're not pressured to just take any job, a photography job. If you know that your bills and your life is being taken care of, you can carefully build your business and your brand, even if you're okay with it being a slow roll. So I think that's a really good idea. And I've heard a lot of people really promote doing that. The big dream thing is like jump off a cliff and, a parachute will form. That's not always practical and it is very scary. So definitely. And Teresa, you're in a really pretty place. And so I think that you'd be able to make that work. Yay! It was great to see you, Diana. Oh, you're 35. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I'm 50, so you got 15 years extra time than me. Hey, Patty. All right. Hello. Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah. I was wrapping up, but since Teresa and Patty got here, if you have any questions, go back when I'm off and watch the replay of the first half because I talked about the 3 weeks we've had so far of the 10-week challenge. So I'm taking questions for that and just any questions in general. Yeah. And, going back to what Teresa was saying, Teresa was saying, should she take a full-time job and build her business on the side? And I definitely think so. You just need to be prepared for it to take a little bit longer, to be working a lot. So take care of yourself and be cognizant of your mind switch. So every time I worked at a vet office, or pretty much seems like anywhere, I work myself up into some kind of management position, which means that I was kind of on even when I was off. So even when I was working part-time at the vet here in Colorado, I'd think, oh, I got to go after work. I'll make that bank deposit for the vet office, or I need to go buy these gift bags for the vet office. So I'm always thinking about that. So coming home after a 12-hour shift at the vet hospital and switching to my pet photography business was too difficult for me. And this was in the last 8 years. So For me, that was difficult. So just know that will be a challenge if you're trying to do both on the same day. If you can have a refresh day and then a day you work on your business and be strategic about things, um, then that'll work for you. Yeah. You're welcome. Yes. I was telling people that if you go to, um, oh, Patty, you still work. Oh, right, right, right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that's kind of a cool idea too, because it's seasonal. If you're interested, I did mention this near the top of the show. If you want something like a one-to-one consult with me, which is a Zoom meeting, just one-to-one, and we can do a portfolio review, we can talk about whatever stage you're at in your business or anything specific to you. Those are available at a link here on my ProPet Photog site. So that's what Patty did. Thank you, Patty. That was a fantastic meeting. It's so great to see you all like in person, kind of interact in person because this is so one way in a lot of ways. Well, obviously visually. How do I make this banner go away? Go away, banner. Okay, let's come back here. Yeah. Yeah. Some of the temporary, that might be a good idea too, Teresa. If there's something in your area that needs help for the summer and you could just like work like crazy at that job for the summer. And then, in the fall, you're just going to like hit every weekend with fall portraits. I mean, there's a lot of ways you could do it. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it was great fun. And Patty, Teresa said she's not sure how much energy she'll have because she's 35. I'm not dissing on you, Teresa, but I kind of assumed that you were in your mid 20s, which when I was in my mid 20s, I definitely had more energy. By 35, though, I had more time because my kids were getting into high school by then. So there's bonuses to every age, trust me. But just kind of knowing where your limits are and where your energy is will help you a lot as you build a business. And business is not always like this easy road that we really, really want it to be, but it could be so fulfilling. So fulfilling. Patty. That's kind of what I was saying. I'm like, well, you got a lot of years left to catch up to me. So if we can do it, right? Yeah. And I've even got inquiries from people who are completely retired and in their 70s, and they want to start a pet photography business, and it can be done. You could shape it however you want. That's another great thing too. And that's the thing too, Teresa, if you again have that job that fulfills your basic needs of housing and food and all that, and you don't have to take any portfolio work that comes around, that's really nice. And you can just control that in a way because you've taken the other things, taken care of it. How fun is that idea, Patty? Yeah. I can't tell you how many kids I have. Oh my gosh. Every time I photograph someone that could be like my kids' age or my grandkids, it's like I kind of take them on as my kids almost. Or when I meet people around, I almost like take them on as this is my little Colorado kid or whatever. Even if they're 30, like my oldest girl will be 30 next spring. And so I was like, whoa. Yeah. But, the more moms, the merrier. That's what I think. And we kind of, I think you do the same, Patty. Yeah. And, we kind of feel that way sometimes, even towards the pets, our clients' pets. Like, we're going to take care of you like our babies. Whenever someone comes to my studio and they're kind of nervous about it for their pet, it's, I try to reassure them, I'm trying to make this the funnest time ever. And now that I'm thinking about it, I should say it's like coming to grandma's house. When you bring your pet to my studio, it's going to be like coming to grandma's house and leaving with amazing photos. That's a good analogy. I like it. Do you have any thoughts on shooting aperture priority? I wedding photographers love shooting aperture priority. A lot of people love shooting aperture priority. I have control issues. So, for me personally, I have everything auto. I started on like completely manual film cameras in high school. and my 20s. And so I had to, like, you put the film in, the film was whatever ISO it was, so 400 or whatever. And then the cameras I had, I think one of them was very high tech and might have had autofocus, but I learned right away the shutter speed and aperture settings manually. And so I've never gotten out of the habit of using them. And, I was trying to do like auto ISO this morning. I know you're asking about aperture, but I tried this morning. There was an osprey that came in, I can see from the backyard, and dove into the water, right? And so they go from the sky, which is bright, down into water, which is darker. And so I thought, I'm just going to put it on auto ISO, and the darn thing would pop it all the way to the max ISO every time. I'm like, that's not what I wanted. And so I'm kind of a control freak with that. And I'm very, very quick at moving aperture, shutter speed, aperture, shutter speed. I've got them right there, the same buttons every time. And then I have to be really careful because I want to have a wide aperture a lot, right? So you get that bokeh-licious background. But then I don't always factor in, oh, shoot, there was 2 dogs and one was 6 inches further back, and that one's enough out of focus to be unusable. Or it's a big dog with a long snout, and the nose is so out of focus, even though the eyes are, it's very distracting. So it doesn't work for me. It depends on the lens, right? So Friday, I'm going to talk about, spoiler alert, Friday's video is about aperture and playing with aperture and finding the right aperture for you. If you are kind of new to using all auto, try different ones. Try aperture priority. Okay, this is how much depth of field I want and what my lens can handle. So I'm going to set it there, and then I'm going to change the other stuff. So really, really, really experiment with the style that you like. There's a really interesting story. There's a photographer out of Chicago, Audrey Woolard, Woolard, I believe. And I saw her talk at Imaging years ago. And what happened to her one time is she was going to a photo session and she dropped her camera and her aperture ring broke and she was stuck at 1.6 for the entire session. And she was doing, I think, teenage girls or teenagers or something. And it got stuck. And she couldn't afford to change it for a little while. So shoots for a little bit were all at 1.6, which is really wide open. She loved it so much, it became her trademark. She was able to manipulate that and still have whatever she wanted in focus. It was amazing. She's like, you know what? From now on, everything's 1.6. I'm like, dang. And she's done really, really well for her. Now, outdoors, sometimes you're going to want those epic shots. You're going to want the trees and the mountains or whatever, the cliff sides in focus. So you could really show the setting. You're going to need, a closed down aperture a little bit more. So it kind of depends on what you're doing. If you really want that really shallow depth of field, you want it to have everything. Think of weddings, all those creamy wedding photographs, they use a wide aperture and they're almost always on aperture priority. The wedding photographers I've talked to, it's all about your style. There's no right way or wrong way. Yeah. Right. I know. I think about that story all the time. And she went on to do all kinds of teaching things. So she has all kinds of resources out there for people who want to photograph like teenage kids. So she really, embraced that change and that what could have been something tragic. Yeah. Yeah, really experiment, especially while you have time right now before you go work with someone, or that it's nice weather, or if you have a subject available. We'll talk about that on the video Friday, is play around with it. You might find your sweet spot of aperture for your lens, your subjects, your location. I'm finding in studio aperture, meh, like you're saying, when you're outside, what do you want to use? And sometimes you can't do a wide open aperture because it's too bright out. Because you go to the beach and some cameras have a ceiling on shutter speed and ISO. So you can make your ISO the lowest as possible, shutter speed as high as possible, and you still can't shoot at 2.8 because it's too bright out. So you're going to have to either use a filter, which I'm not a big fan of, or know where you want your aperture in those situations, right? Yeah, yeah. Patty, you've been quiet. What questions might you have, either about the challenge or anything else. I'm happy to answer. I've been online here on the live stream 48 minutes, so I probably should get off pretty quick. Just because it ends up being a really long replay for people. And we'll do another live stream. Don't you worry. Don't worry. I was doing them, what was it, the first Monday? Diana said she kind of liked Wednesday afternoons. If y'all have a preferred time, let me know. I know we're all in different time zones, so it's really tough to make it a time everyone can be there. Do you use spot metering for metering mode? I think so, because generally, if I don't, it's metering for the entire scene, right? So all of this would be metered, not my face, and I want the subject's face metered. So I believe I do. There's a lot of metering modes. Hold on, my camera's right here. Ugh. Oh my gosh, this is Steve's camera bag. Let me make this go away for a second. That I had to use on the trip because my camera bag, the zipper broke. I am on a constant quest to find a good camera bag. If y'all have any input on that, let me know. Oh, that's under the microphone. Sorry. Let's see here. Oh gosh. I can tell you what my metering mode is here. Go to function. I thought I had it in here. Yeah, I don't really use, Teresa, exposure compensation people use on Aperture priority too. Oh, I guess I don't have it right here in this screen, but I'm pretty sure I always default to spot metering because, again, I'm kind of like a control freak and I want it to meter on the spot that I tell it to meter on. If y'all know Sony camera menu systems, you know what a pain they are. So it's going to take me a second here. Focus. Oh, I'm on all the focus settings. Yep, metering mode is spot. I knew it. Yes, I do. I do use spot metering mode. Yeah, in the center. Yep. Yeah, I do. That's funny. I think I've tried the other ones, and again, it exposes for the whole scene. So, yeah. Oh, gosh. Okay. Yeah. Ooh, yeah. There's spot. There's, I don't know. Sony has a ton of them. But basically, they're taking the information, the light information, the luminance, like from the entire scene or just in this area or wherever you tell it, or, there's all kinds. Every camera has a little bit of different metering capabilities. And then, of course, you can have your histogram in the corner for most cameras. So that's another thing to play around, especially if you're not happy with your metering that's happening now. Like you think, okay, it told me this would be fine, but it's too dark or too light. Why? It could be also your metering mode. So, yeah. Yeah. And then learning how to shift that. So there's some pictures I took of Amber and Henry that I wanted to be a silhouette. So I had her stand in front of the sheer curtains of her window, and I stepped back and just got a silhouette of them. So I had to know where to shift the metering. So if metering said it's perfect here, nope, I want it a lot darker or a lot lighter. So getting to know all that, especially because once you're out on location, you want to just go and you know where the settings are, and it takes a while to get that confident. Yeah. Oh, okay, great. Yeah, for sure. And then if you do, like, say you pick aperture priority or shutter priority, something like that, if you have the luxury of taking a test shot and then looking at the histogram, and do a little bit of research on histogram. I don't really plan on making a video on that. It's just a little more techie than I want to get into. So I don't know. But looking at the histogram, you're hoping to get a little mountain and nothing shoved off and clipped off on one side and clipped off on the other. That's like the really simplified version of reading your histogram, and it can be off to one side or the other. Look at it after the fact. So like when I was saying the Osprey dove this morning, there was a spot, and I have blinkies on too. So there was an image that I loved. I'm like, oh my gosh, his claws are out. He's in. He's like, he's about to go into the water. and the white of the front was blinking a little, but the histogram looked okay. So I have to load that on the computer now to see really. And so I did adjust that several times because he dove like 4 or 5 times this morning. So the blinkies are really good. That's why I'm thinking if the blinkies showed up where it was overexposed, then there's just no data, but we'll see because the histogram looked okay. But I did play around with that a lot. And I do love this camera will give you histogram for general exposure, but you can also in reviewing look at the histogram for every like 4 different colors too, which is kind of fun. So I haven't utilized that as much as I could though. Yeah. What's really nice, like Patty, you do a lot of studio stuff, and I do a fair amount. Like you kind of just know. One of the things about being in that controlled environment is like it's going to be around in this area of settings. Like the lights are going to be about here, shutter speed's about here, aperture's about here for this subject. You kind of just get a parameter really quickly in your head. Like I can walk into my studio and go, okay, I've got 3 black dogs coming in. We've got a black backdrop. I got these 2 lights, and I don't even need a light meter because I kind of know where it's going to be. But that comes with 30 years experience. So, and Patty, I know you have a lot of experience too, but you seem to be able to nail it in the studio. It's a little easier sometimes. You don't have the sun coming and going. Yeah. All right, everyone. Okay, one more time at the end of the show here. Go here for almost everything. You can sign up for the email list. Please do. It's full of fun stuff, and it's only once a week, right as the video drops on Fridays. It's a good reminder. And you can sign up for a one-to-one. You can look at the courses and resources I have there. There's a membership community center in there that I'm trying to grow. So check out ProPet Photog for resources and more. We'll be adding all the time. Join the Facebook group. If you're watching on the replay, you are not on this Facebook group, please join us. And if you have any questions for me, reach me here, Monique@silverpawstudio.com. Yeah. All right, everyone. I have to make sure I'm ready to walk to the dentist in an hour. So that should be lovely. Yeah. Okay. And Teresa, I think you're on my email list. So I will try to let you all know next time a little more notice of when I'm going live because I really love doing these and I want you to know they're happening. So yeah. Yay. Thanks everyone for being here. So good to see you again. Keep going with the challenges. You're going to end up with so many great skills and a portfolio you're really proud of for whatever kind of work that you aspire to. Okay. I want it to be fun. I want it to be simple, interactive. So any help you need, let me know. We have 7 weeks left. Okay. Yay. Yes, you're welcome. I'm glad you love the show. Yay. All right. I'm going to sign off now. And I have a banner here somewhere. What do I always say? As always, I wish you many whoofs, purrs, and TREATSs. Okay. Bye, everyone. Goodbye.